What we're going to cover is really what changed in OpenRefine 3.9. So here I'm running OpenRefine from building OpenRefine from master. So that's not something available today. So first things you'll notice here is we have a new tab named extension. And that's something that's been developed by Abe 98, so Albin. And that let you see all the extension installed on your machine. That's really interesting from a trainer perspective because you'll be able to see here is a wiki data and next going to be listed is a commands extension installed. I don't have installed the command extension myself. So here you'll be able to troubleshoot very quickly a student setup saying, do you have your extension installed? That also let you access Discover extension, so all the other extensions that exist and are available. So bringing a bit more discoverability in OpenRefine on all the extensions that exist, and the documentation on how you can install extension. That's a first page. If you check on GitHub, like there is plan to keep growing options available on that extension management page. But here, like just seeing what's installed, what's enabled or not is a first step forward. Then when you go and create a project, I think the obvious part is now you can drag and drop a file to start a project. So here, using my building permits from the city of Toronto, which is my demo dataset. So I can now just drag and drop and start my project. What we have here is the options to remove or not the blank columns. So what I have in this project is my last column, name, build a name, is entirely blank in my entire data set. So here I have the option to ask OpenRefine when creating the project, if in the file I provided there is any column that's entire empty, I don't want to store them. I don't want to create them. That's coming from a feature request, and it's been developed by a new developer, like through one of his first contribution to OpenRefine. Well, I'm not going to going through here, but there is like improvement on how we parse CSV, how we parse TSV, so a more robust data creation phase. So if I move to my project creation, so now I'm in OpenRefine. So what Neb Antonin added in that release is the option to resize column directly from the grid. So you can adjust what you want to see. We had also a great new contribution from Steve Kasika, being able to add new columns, add blank row in your project. And I see some heads nodding in the room. So you can add one row at the beginning of the project, add one row append, so at the end of the project, or add a bunch of rows. So if I want to start at 5 at the beginning, being able to do that quickly, then I'll let you explore like the different use case on what to do with those new rows. But that's now I will be available in 3.9. The other thing that happened is you have access to history deletion warning. So here, like I've done a couple of action, started to create an history here. If I roll back my project and say I want to create a text facet, sorry, not on that column. I want to create a text facet and make one edition, I'm going to have a pop-up confirming the history deletion. So as you know, and I think as you learn by losing your project history, if you roll back in your project history and do one action, all your following action is going to be deleted and lost forever. So here we had a warning, hey, be careful. If you do that, you're going to lose all those history. So you have like this one stop. Are you really sure you want to do that? If I apply anyway, I'm losing my history, but at least you've got that heads up. I know in all my trainings, that's something I keep reminding students, being careful when you go back and start making change. So now you've got that embedded in the software. Another important change, and that was done by Ziad, who was our Google Summer of Code intern last summer, is a lot of improvement on the clustering function. So here, that's the current usage. So it's building permits data set. So it's like how the building is currently used. And that's a free text field. So you have like over 9,000 different version of writing dental office and medical office. So clustering is great here. When I go in clustering on a large field like that, first you see nothing happen. And that's a way to prevent memory overconsumption on your machine and have to wait endlessly for the first cluster to spin before you can access it. So you have the auto update disabled because in that case, I know key collision is not the right way. It's best to use Levenstein, for example. So now I can ask for a Levenstein to be computed. So taking the time to go on the right, I want to trigger my clustering. Obviously, I took the one that took longer to compute. We reload it. I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to not do a Levenstein and do a closed neighborhood. The other thing is once you've got your cluster created, now you have the option to single select which of the detecting option to merge in your cluster. So for example, if I don't want to have that version of semi-detached, I can click it. So everything's going to be merged in SFD semi-detached except that entry. So that will let you merge faster some cluster where like sometimes a cluster look perfect except for one or two value you want to exclude and you're not able to merge that cluster because of those two value. So now you have the ability to single remove them as an exception. I'm not going to go too far in that part, but you also have the option to add new clustering function. I can see really the use case for those working in non-English or even non-Latin alphabet, where the current clustering algorithm proposed in OpenRefine does not like cover well your data set. So here you have the option to come here and add a new clustering function. So for example, I can add a fingerprint function which already exists. So it's not the best function to add, but you can add a new fingerprint function and access it here, like that's the one I created. So a bit more extensibility in OpenRefine clustering function for those that are ready to explore that part. Note that when you add a new function, You can do it in Grail, but you can also use Python or Clojure. So really being able like to develop like more advanced clustering than just like using the Grail language. Finally, and I'm not going to go through it in details, what we have is improvement in Grail on the join function done by Tom Morris, better support when we divide by 0 by Kurocipher, Sunil Atraj, who's been really involved in the last few months improving OpenRefine, introduce a new zip function when you want to align two sets of data. And overall, and Alicia will show a lot of those better error reportings. So when something does not work, either Grail or integration with the commons or Wikidata, you have more insight on why it's not working and how you can fix it. Stop sharing, Alicia. I'll let you take it from here.
Perfect, thank you. Now let's see if this will work for me. Share Chrome tab. Oh yeah, I have several tabs with the same name. Then it will be just, then I don't know which one. Yes, perfect. So as Martin mentioned, the 3.9 version of OpenRefine will be released soon. And in general, if you are curious about which features will be included in any upcoming version, you can always go to GitHub and look at a milestone, which always has a list of all the features. You can filter on closed features. Those are things that are developed and ready, and open features which are still under development. I will mostly focus on things that are already completed and ready, but I will also mention some interesting things that are currently under development and that I am already very excited about. For example, one thing that is under development is to be able to provide a path of the directory or folder where the files that you want to upload to Wikimedia Commons are. Right now, you have to upload a file with a list of the files, like a spreadsheet. And I know a lot of people would simply, they want to be able to simply point OpenRefine to the directory where the files are located. So I'm very excited about this one. And another big feature that my colleague Sebastian is working on is to be able to upload new versions of files to Wikimedia Commons. Right now, there really isn't a tool that has like comparable user friendliness as OpenRefine. So if you do want to overwrite files, you need to find an alternative solution. Like a scenario that I myself encountered is that, let's say some years ago, a GLAM shared a bunch of low resolution files from their collection. And now a couple years later, they go, oh, by the way, we have these files in much better resolution. Can we just override the files that are on Commons? And being able to do this with OpenRefine is something that I am looking forward to a lot. I know that this one is something that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time, chunked uploads. Which will make it possible for us to upload files larger than 100 megabytes from our local machines. up to now, it has been possible using remote uploading from a URL, but being able to do it directly from your own machine, that will really be a game changer, especially for you working with GLAMs who often have TIFF files, very large, very beautiful TIFF files, very often larger than 100 megabytes. Before, like the way I did it was, okay, I upload the smaller files with OpenRefine because it's really the most flexible solution for editing the metadata and so on. And then I will try to like assemble some sort of a spreadsheet for Pattypan and put the remaining large files in that, which was neither practical nor particularly enjoyable. As a matter of fact, I am right now using a snapshot version of OpenRefine, which has all the features that have been completed. And like literally today, I was testing it to upload a bunch of large photos shared with us by a museum in Sweden, and like not having to go to Pattypan and deal with its horrible workflow. Like, no offense to Pattypan, but like being able to do everything in OpenRefine in one workflow, it's really a game changer. Now some user experience things. For example, when you edit the schema before uploading your data or files, some of the things in the schema editor have been a bit confusing, like the buttons that save the schema and save the changes to the schema. They actually like did the opposite of what they claim to do. Like the save schema changes button actually prompts you to save the schema in your library, and the save schema button just saves the changes made to the schema into the project. Like once you learn that they don't do what they seem to do, you kind of get over it, but it's really not supposed to be like that. So these buttons, these labels have been swapped, hopefully a little less confusing. Another great user experience thing, error handling. Like, you know, you upload a bunch of things, data or files, some uploads fail, and you just don't know why. Like if you've done this a long time, you can kind of guess. You can try to figure out, oh, like in this example, oh, this Wikidata item, it cannot be edited because another item in Wikidata already has the same label and description pair, and we can't have two items like that. Like that's a much deeper issue of why Wikidata does that. That's not my circles and not my monkeys, but you can do that. And if you're not aware of that, which as a beginner, I don't blame you, you will just be confused of why that happened. So there is a new feature now to actually try to get the errors that the platform you're uploading to gives to you, be it Wikidata or Wikimedia Commons, and actually put the errors in very friendly red letters in a new column. And if the edit actually succeeded, then that will also be outputted in the Wikibase editing results column. And of course, you get a new facet to be able to get an overview of what happened in your uploading process. More about error messages. I think my favorite error message, the MediaWiki error while editing, it's not very helpful. Again, you can guess what happened, but it turned out that the API actually does expose some more helpful messages, so those will be exposed as well. like connection to Wikibase failed. Okay, that's a bit more information. That's probably not my fault. And the text that you want to publish was blocked by the spam filter. Like if you had a link in the wiki text to some website that was blocked on the spam list, then okay, you can guess that I probably want to edit my wiki text and see what sort of stuff I'm actually putting there that the platform does not like. More confusing errors. The captions you add as SDC to files on Commons are not supposed to be longer than 250 characters. Again, not something you or the beginners you teach will know. If they are longer, then you will actually get a warning now so that you can look at them and edit them. So at least you know what's happening there and why Commons will not accept this. And now when you're looking at all these errors and warnings before uploading, this development is, well, maybe technically small, but I like it. The issues tab got a little makeover. It's less crowded. The icons do not look so aggressive. I like it. It's like a bit more pleasant to look at and a bit more smooth. Again, when you're looking at issues, when uploading to Wikidata, sometimes it would just output not the property names, but only their PIDs. And it happened when this particular property, which is present in the constraints for that other property, like in this case, you want to add a Kulturnav ID, external ID to a Wikidata item, but there's a constraint on Wikidata that says, okay, if you're adding this property, it should also have this qualifier. Since the qualifier is not mentioned in our project, only the property ID is displayed, which is not very helpful since you have to go to Wikidata and see what that is. And now all the property names should appear, not just the bare numbers. By the way, in this case, I think P972, that's the name of the catalog in which this ID is, which I always forget about myself. Different sorts of annoying bugs have been solved, bigger and smaller. Like this one, for example, when you do reconciliation, there are 0 potential matches, but the link to search for a match does not appear, which is quite a critical error, since very often if you get 0 matches, then your next step is to actually run a quick search on Wikidata to find for something similar. And this bug has been solved. For you who actually install the extension, there will be a new naming scheme to make it easier to figure out what those files and those directories actually are, and to make it easier to figure out where to put them, because like OpenRefine Commons and module, that's not extremely user-friendly. Now it will be just OpenRefine Commons extension and the project version, so that it will be easier to figure out what that is and what actually is in your extension directories. Useful for those who use a lot of extensions. And that was my quick overview of the most exciting things. Now I will stop sharing and I will actually look at your pretty faces because I didn't see them when running the screen share. Maybe you all fell asleep.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm just gonna stop recording.